Welcome to the Resilient Artist Podcast, your go-to space for wellness and success strategies tailored for musicians. Join us each week as we explore tips, tools, and stories to help you thrive in your music career while staying balanced and inspired. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to the Resilient Artist Podcast, where we're diving into everything an artist needs to build a sustainable career and life. I'm your host, Crystal McGrath.
And I'm Rachel Joy Olson. Today we're talking about a really crucial part of being an artist, which is networking at music conferences.
Yes, conferences are a gold mine for connections. We were just recently at a conference this past weekend, or a couple weekends ago now by the time this comes out. However, it is a great space to get to know people in your industry, connections, all the things. And we've got some tips today on how you can use conferences to the best of your ability to excel in your career.
Yeah, so let's dive in. So before you even go to the conference, it's really important to prepare and figure out what is it that I'm trying to accomplish. So here's some of the things that you can do. So first of all, you can research the event. So I love it when I get the panels or the schedules. I'm kind of a nerd like that. I really love conferences because it's, you get to see who's going to be speaking, when are they going to speaking. You can kind of organize, okay, who do I want to see? What am I going to learn? And so you can kind of really, before the event, figure out your entire schedule. So if sometimes conferences are set up that you can go to every single event, and sometimes they're set up that you have to pick and choose. So it kind of depends on what kind of conference it is. So before you even do that, and as you're looking at the schedule of speakers, set clear goals. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Are you looking for a manager? Are you looking for a record deal? Are you looking for sync opportunities? Are you looking just to make connections and talk to other artists? So it's really important that when you go in there, set a clear goal. I know that when we went to our last conference, I was like, okay, that's it. I did it. I met the person I wanted to meet and I don't really have to do anything else. Of course I did. But it's so great when you can go with that accomplishment or that goal in mind. And then once you've accomplished that, it feels good. You think, okay, this was worth the investment, because it's always an investment to go to
they're not cheap.
No, and financially and time, right?
Time.
You've got to, it's time away from your family. It's time away from your business. It's time away from creating. So it's really important that you go with a purpose. And we've talked in previous episodes and in our book a lot about an elevator pitch and having kind of your focus on who is it that you are and what is it that you do. So let's say you were to meet the president of the record company that you really like, the label that you would really love to have a deal with. And all of a sudden you find this person, you walk in and they're standing right there in the elevator. And you literally have, what did they say? An elevator pitch to be about 7 seconds, right? You have 7 seconds to tell this person who you are and what you do. What are you going to say? And that's harder than you think, because I think as humans, we like to ramble on and I do this and I do that. But when you're dealing with somebody like that, you want to get to the point, you want to get to it fast, and you want to be creative. You want it to be that when that person walks out of there, they're going, let's connect. Here's my card, or contact my assistant, or whatever. So you want to kind of hook them in like we do on social media and have them go, I want to get to know this person a little bit more. Now, before you also go, it's important that whether or not it's conference, whether or not you're pitching to a venue, whether or not you're pitching to a label, it is so important to make sure that your online presence represents you and your latest work. So we have to get the socials and the website on point. So just as an example, somebody had recommended a band for me to book, and I was like, all right, I'll look them up. No socials. I think they had a Facebook page, but no website, nothing, no contact information. And I probably went an extra step from what someone else would do. And I just said, where can I contact you guys? And they said, connect with so-and-so. Well, there was no link. There was like absolutely nothing. And I just dropped it. And I just thought, well, isn't that too bad, right? Because if they would have had a website that was obvious as where I could connect with them, I would have booked them, right? So you definitely don't want to miss out on a big record deal or a really great opportunity to play at a festival or, your dream venue just because somebody can't find you or get a hold of you. Another thing would be QR codes, digital business cards, really making it easy for people to connect with you. So nowadays you can just pull up a QR code on your phone and you can say, hey, just take a picture of this and it'll take you right to my socials. It'll take you right to my contact page. So having some of those things set up before you go is going to be key to your success when you hit up a conference or another networking opportunity.
Yeah, and it takes the pressure off because these events can really make you feel like a deer in the headlights sometimes. You're there and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know what to say. I don't even know who I am anymore, right? So by having a plan and really doing your research is so helpful for these. It's going to give you more confidence. It's just going to give you that extra boost you need to go and just be you and do your thing and connect with the right people because they can be very intimidating. As an artist, it can be a very intimidating thing to go into a room of people and have to say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. And I'm super proud of myself, even though you just feel like, you have those old belief systems that are like, I'm not good enough and I don't belong here and all these things. You need to have, when you have a plan, it can easily shut those voices down. So it's like that starts to creep up. Nope, I have a plan. This is my plan. I'm moving forward, right? So that leads us into you're at the conference. How do you connect with people? How do you make meaningful connections? That's something I was just speaking on confidence and approachability. You don't want to be like the scowly person standing in the corner. You want to be smiling and inviting and just a person that people want to come up and talk to. You see those people in the room sometimes that are just smiling and laughing with everybody and just a magnet to people. And it's like, how do you be more like that? Well, it's really easy. You just need to smile and you need to be confident. And confidence is a feeling too, right? It's something that's practiced. It's not something, maybe that's really turned on and off. It's a practice. So the more of these kind of conferences you go to, the more you put yourself out there in networking opportunities, the more your confidence is going to build. It's like, if you're looking for a job interview or a job and you're doing all these different interviews, you just keep showing up. And by the 20th interview, you're like, oh, I got this. This is breezy. This is easy. And you're confident because you've done 20 already. You're not so much thinking about how you're not good enough or how all the little things that go on in the brain happen, right? So just remembering that confidence is like a built skill and it's not just a feeling. So practice your confidence everywhere you go. You're at the grocery store, say hi to somebody. In line, start a conversation. The art of networking is all about conversation. So practice talking to people. It's really that simple. And we're human, we crave connection. So try that. And then listening, as much as I'm talking about talking to people, you want to listen back. That's really important. Nobody wants to talk to somebody that doesn't listen, right? Or that's just constantly talking about themselves and doesn't give you the space to talk about yourself. So that's one thing I love talking to people and hearing their stories. So ask questions, find out more about who you're talking to, less about you, more about them. And then they'll be intrigued to know more about you, typically, if you're asking questions and giving them the space to talk about themselves. Some great places to network with people are panels, Q&A sessions, networking lounges and after parties. Even if you don't love to party and be up late, those are honestly the best times to connect with people because that's where like the business kind of shuts off and it's a place to just build connection, right? Just casual connection. And sometimes building relationships isn't all about, hey, this is what I do and this is who I am. Sometimes it can be like, hey, we have this in common. Let's chat about that. Yeah. So just thinking about you're not always selling yourself. Sometimes it's just selling who you are as a person, not what you do, right? I think that's something that's important. And being authentic with that, right? People will see right through being fake. I see this all the time. And I think we were talking about this too. It's just show up and be authentic. And that just means showing up as who you are. It's that easy. You're not putting on a facade. You're not putting on a show. This isn't performance time. This is just you being you and connecting with people. And while you're there, make sure you have business cards or a QR code that people can scan, just a way for people to connect with you because they're meeting so many different people that they'll probably forget. So if you don't have cards, you can't give them out. Make sure you're getting cards from people or asking them for their contact information so that you can get in touch with them after.
Absolutely. My favorite part about going to conferences, really in any realm, is getting to see people face to face because we don't get
Mhm.
enough FaceTime. And I
Yeah.
think that, I can sit there, trying to book a band and send emails, send messages, send this and that. And the person might be like, I don't know who this person is. Like,
Oh, no.
so why would I go out of my way to write them back? And it's true, right? We tend not to pay as much attention to people who we don't know on a personal level. That's why networking, connecting is so important because, sadly, it comes down to sometimes who you know. And
Totally.
so when you go to the conferences, like this most recent conference that we went to, I was able to connect with somebody who I'd been trying to get a hold of really for quite some time, and then finally got to meet this person face to face. And it was just neat because then they were like, oh yeah, hey, now I can put a face to the name. Now I really understand, who it is that's in front of me. And now all of a sudden I'm a human being instead of just some random bot that's sending out messages, right? Because I think even nowadays, sometimes it's hard to know, is this a real person on the other end, or is this just an automatic response? So it's really nice for people to be able to put a face to the name. Let's say you've got, a venue you've wanted to book. They get to meet you. They get to see who you are. They get to see your energy. And then you get to hit it off and they go, okay, that's somebody I would like to have in my space. That's somebody who I
Totally.
know is going to jive well with the people that come into my venue.
Yeah. And then even just other artists that are at these conferences with you that you maybe even haven't had a chance to meet them yet, but you follow them on social. So you feel like you know everything about them, but you have never met them. Go up to them and say, hey, this is who I am. I love what you're doing, and build relationships that way. Just don't be afraid of walking up to somebody and saying hi,
Mhm.
because I think that's the biggest thing that holds people back at these events is just too scared that someone's not going to care. And I promise you, if you go up and say hi to somebody, they're 99% going to say hi back. I mean, if they're not saying hi back and engaging in conversation, then you probably don't want to talk to them anyways, right? So don't be afraid of saying hello.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. And then networking, it doesn't end when the conference is over. It continues on after that. So following up is a really, really vital part of this. I mean, you do all this work to get to know the person and, meet with them. But let's chat a little bit more about how do you follow up after the conferences? What are some tricks and tools you use, Rachel?
Yeah, that's when they're like we said, that's when kind of the real magic happens is, doing that follow up. So personalized follow ups are really important. Usually within 48 hours. I tend to like to do it the next day if possible. Reference your conversation, say, hey, it was so great to meet you at the conference. Finally get to put a face to the name. We had talked about this, that, and the other thing. So maybe you had connected on a certain point. Maybe they had said, yeah, reach out, and we'll talk about something in particular. So those personalized follow-ups are key. Now, you may or may not get a response back, who knows, right? Depending on, what the situation is, but I think it's important to at least make that effort. Engage on social media. So if there are people you want to stay connected with, this is where social media comes in again. Start liking their posts, start commenting on their posts, start sharing their posts. And you can start to develop that connection. If that particular person that you're wanting to connect with starts saying, okay, who is this person sharing my stuff all the time? Or who is this person commenting on my post, they're going to start to go, okay, this person's paying attention. This might be somebody I want to pay attention to as well. And then suggest a next step. Say, I'd love to have a coffee if you've got time, maybe a Zoom call, some sort of collaboration idea. Offer that next step. Sometimes I like to finish with a question, kind of like, almost a prompt to respond. And again, you may or may not get a response, but yet kind of sending that prompt out there really helps. And networking isn't just about collecting business cards and collecting contacts and trying to promote yourself and sell something. I've been to a lot of business networking conferences or networking events as well where everybody there just wants to try to sell you something and it's so annoying. It drives me crazy. I even hate the question when you go to a business networking event and they're like, "What is it that you do?" It's like,
Yeah, what do you do?
"What do you do?"
Who
It's like,
are you?
why is that the first question? you know why not? What is it that you love? What are you passionate about? And I love that stuff. But anyways, it's about developing long-term relationships, just like social media. Social media is a relationship building platform. And those who do well on social media are the ones who do well on nurturing, building, and developing those relationships for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So this is a really great overview on networking events. Just remember, be yourself, have a plan, go out there and just put your blinders on if you're worried about what other people are going to think, and just go have fun, meet the people you want to meet, and more, right? Just that's another thing I love saying. It's like, allow this to come to me with more, right? Don't put limits on yourself. And just remember too, when you go to conferences, maybe nothing happens the first year, the second year, then, oh, okay, you've been going for 3, 4, 5 years now. It takes time. It's the longevity of it all is time, right? So just know that you're showing up for yourself, you're showing up for your business. It can be scary if you're new to this, but I promise you it gets easier. Smile, be authentic, say hi, all the things.
Yeah, and remember, if you want more strategies to grow your music career, make sure to grab a copy of our Resilient Artist. So we got lots of health and business strategies in there for you to help with your personal and your professional life. And send us a message. Again, we love to connect with our followers. We love to connect with people. We love to answer questions. So if you've got a great networking tip from a conference or another networking opportunity that you've done that we haven't mentioned here, or even that we have, we want to hear from you. So throw it in the comments in our social media and follow us. And yeah, anything else you want to add, Crystal?
I think we covered it for today, but I can't wait for the next episode. And we look forward to seeing you guys and hearing from you very soon. Thanks for tuning in to the Resilient Artist Podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, like, and share this podcast with your fellow musicians. Your support helps us grow and reach more artists just like you. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review to let us know what you think. Ready to take your wellness journey to the next level? Join the Artist Wellness Collective at www.artistwellnesscollective.com for more resources, community, and support designed to help musicians thrive. Until next time, keep creating and living your best artistic life.